All right, everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah, excited to jump into this one.
Me too. This one is going to be interesting.
For sure.
Yeah, so today we are going to be taking a look at online conflict.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically what happens when, somebody is labeled as toxic online. And we are going to be dissecting a comment that we found online.
Oh, cool.
And it's really interesting. It's very short, but it's also like emotionally charged, and it really got me thinking.
Okay.
So it's about somebody online named Ziel.
Gotcha.
So you ready to jump into this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so the comment starts out with, "I'm so sick of seeing it."
Wow.
I know.
Like right off the bat.
It's like a punch to the gut.
Yeah.
And it just makes you think like, wow, like what is going on that would make somebody feel this way?
Totally. I mean, it speaks to this like I don't know if it's a universal feeling, but a very common one online, right?
Yeah.
This kind of like online fatigue. Like we're constantly just like doom scrolling, and there's all this like negativity and conflict and accusations. And it's like at a certain point, you just kind of get tired of it.
Exactly. And this person's saying they're sick of seeing it. So like, what is it that they are seeing?
Right.
Well, they go on to say, Ziel being toxic as always.
Okay.
So right away, they throw out the word toxic.
Yep.
Which we see everywhere online.
Uh-huh.
But what does it actually mean?
Right, that's the question, isn't it? It's become such a loaded term.
Yes.
We use it to describe everything from like genuine harassment and bullying online to just like disagreeing with somebody's opinion.
Yeah.
So it's like, where do we draw the line? I mean, the commenter is obviously like feeling very strongly about Ziel's behavior, but without more context, it's hard to know what exactly they're referring to.
Right. And it gets even more complicated because they go on to say that Ziel is whining over $60 and sending the rabid toxic hate mob after somebody.
Whoa. Okay, so now we're getting into some specifics.
Yeah, that $60 thing really got me like, why $60?
Yeah, what is that about?
Right.
Do you think that money is often like at the heart of these online clashes?
I mean, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about it. A lot of these online communities, especially like those centered around creators or influencers, often have these financial elements right. Donations, subscriptions, sponsorships.
Yeah.
I mean, money can definitely become a point of contention and lead to these accusations of like unfairness or exploitation. You know what I mean?
Totally. And then there's this whole like hate mob thing.
Right.
Which is honestly kind of scary.
Yeah.
Like, is that an exaggeration or is this like a real phenomenon we should be worried about?
Unfortunately, I don't think it's an exaggeration. I mean, we've seen how these online platforms can be used to like mobilize people, for better or for worse.
Right.
So the commenter seems to be suggesting that like Ziel has this following and that they can like manipulate or direct them to attack others.
Right.
Which is like a whole other level.
Yeah, that is a whole other level. And that makes me think of that line they said, "Who loves fighting your battles for you?"
Oh, yeah.
Like, what is that all about?
Well, it sounds like classic stan culture, this like really intense fandom that can sometimes, kind of go overboard.
Right. And I think we've all kind of felt that pull, haven't we? Like to defend somebody online, even if maybe they're not always right.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, how does that work?
Well, you might find it interesting that there's actually been studies done on this.
Really?
Yeah. Like, there's a link they found between parasocial relationships and feelings of social isolation.
Oh, wow.
So it's like people who maybe feel less connected in their offline lives are more drawn to these like intense online fandoms.
That makes sense.
They're finding a sense of belonging, in defending their chosen idol. But as we can see, this can sometimes be exploited or it can lead to harmful behavior.
Absolutely. And then almost as an afterthought, they say Ziel's just irresponsible with his platform. And that brings up a bigger question for me.
What's that?
Like, are online platforms a form of power?
Yeah.
And if so, like, what responsibilities come with that power?
It's a huge question. It's a huge debate that I don't think we can answer right here. But it's interesting to think about, because we're seeing this shift in how we even define what a public figure is.
That's true.
It's not just like traditional celebrities anymore.
Yeah.
Somebody with a massive online following, even if they aren't like traditionally famous, can have a huge impact on their audience.
Right.
They have this platform, this voice that reaches thousands, even millions of people.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, it really is.
So do they have an ethical obligation to use that platform responsibly? Like, where do we draw the line between free speech and the potential for harm?
Wow. So we started with this one seemingly simple comment.
Yeah.
And we've gone to these like really complex questions about online behavior and power dynamics and like the psychology of fandom. It's really interesting.
Yeah, and it highlights how this digital world is so intertwined with like our emotions and our sense of community and even how we view right and wrong, you know?
That's so true. And, before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with this thought. Is the concept of toxicity online truly subjective? Or are there objective standards of behavior that we should all be striving for in these digital spaces?
It's a question worth pondering.
It really is. What do you think? Let us know. And until next time, stay curious.
Yeah.